Hi, I'm Reverend June Huff from Church of the Ascension in London, Ontario. I have a line for you. I can forgive, but I can't forget. Forgiveness is a big topic, but I think it's one we need to talk about. And part of that, or that whole sentence, is true. We need to forgive, but it doesn't mean we have to forget. And sometimes it's wise when we don't forget. Maya Angelou used to say, if people tell you who they are, believe them. So if you've been hurt and wounded by somebody, the chances are that may happen again. So don't forget, but please forgive. And what forgiveness is not as complex as we think. It's not making friends again. Forgiveness isn't saying it's all okay or it was okay. Forgiveness is about letting go and releasing, putting it aside so it doesn't damage our souls any more than it has to. Wounds can be really deep, but forgiveness means letting go of those things that have control over us and who have hurt us. And remembering is okay, as long as we don't hold on to the memories and stop ourselves from healing. Because along with forgiveness comes a great amount of healing required. Now people say, well, we can forgive another person. What about a nation? What about the Ukraine? How do we forgive that? And I would say, well, that war is still ongoing. It hasn't become really personal to me yet. And I think we're still involved in a lot of fear, wondering, feeling the pain of it all before we can get to a place of forgiveness. But forgiveness can be on an individual level. After the Second World War, people found themselves hating Japanese or hating Germans. And after getting to know some German people and some Japanese people, people found themselves reconciling and forgiving and releasing themselves from the pain that the war had caused. Corrie ten Boom talks, who was this wonderful little old lady when I saw her, but actually was Dutch, and her and her family hid people during the Holocaust. And eventually, because they did that, they were put in a concentration camp, and most of her family died, and she survived. She was in a church, she says, in some part of Europe, and they were passing the peace. And the man in front of her turned to pass the peace with her. And she realized he was a guard from the concentration camp. And in that moment, though, she was ready to forgive and release all the anger she had. And that's true forgiveness. Because pain and anger can hold us back. We need to release our souls to allow ourselves to enjoy life in a better way. But I know what the hardest thing is to do. The hardest person to forgive is ourselves. Somehow we get caught in the would-haves, should-haves, could-haves. And we think, I wish it'd been different. I wish I'd said this. I wish I hadn't been so hard. But the reality is that we can forgive ourselves. And we're also not supposed to hold on to that anger. And we get ourselves cycling memories, thinking of how we've wounded somebody or hurt. We need to stop. Go for a walk. Read a book, watch a TV show. Because what that does is stops the cycling and takes us out of the moment. Remember this, though. You're a child of God. And you're worthy of forgiveness. And there's nothing you've done that God hasn't forgiven you for. So I leave that with you. Know you're loved. You're free. You are forgiven. Amen.